Welcome to DaDen, a podcast where we talk about life in Japan in a gaijin perspective. If you haven't still subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. If you like what you see, please hit that like button to help out the channel as well. Today we have a special guest. I completely forgot to pronounce your name already. What will be your name?
Agnelia.
Agnelia. What will be your nickname?
Aggie. You
Aggie.
can call me Aggie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Jayden told me that you just came to Japan. How long have you been to Japan, living in Japan for?
So I came the first week of August. It's November now, so about 3-4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you like it here?
To be honest, it's taken some time for me to settle in there. Like, it was a bit of a little bit of a rough start at the beginning. That combined with just being away from family made it a little bit tough. But I think after a couple of months now, I'm kind of getting my drift, and I'm getting there, enjoying a little bit more than I did the first 2 weeks at least.
It's not your first time in Japan, right?
No, I've been here before.
Okay. How many times have you been here?
Just once before. And that was actually how I met Jayden.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
That is how. So we met through a mutual friend, my high school friend, Sam. Sam Nana, if you're watching, I know you're watching, Sam.
Is it really?
Sam came over on a holiday with Aggie and another friend. And two other friends.
Yeah.
2 other friends. And I said, let's meet up. Let's go for some food and some drinks. And that's where we met Aggie on a long Saturday night out in the Minato-ku district. So,
here.
Right, that's
Yes.
where it was. Oh, okay.
Well, it
so
wasn't the Minato-ku. It was like Shibuya and Roppongi and
Okay.
the typical nightlife.
Okay. So you went clubbing.
Yes, we went.
We
We
did.
went to it as a guy, and then we went to clubbing, and then I went home, but some other people stayed out.
Okay.
It was real fun. It was like one of the greatest nights out. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not gonna ask what you did, but did you go anywhere else besides Shibuya and stuff?
During that first trip?
Yeah.
I remember we traveled around Asakusa. We did Harajuku, Shinjuku, just kind of like I think the main touristy areas. We were only here for like 10 to 14 days. And so we just explored kind of like the areas that were around where we stayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of went in the safe route.
Yeah, we didn't go too far away.
During that time, were you able to speak the language?
No, like I knew no word of Japanese. But the thing was, I actually studied Japanese as a subject or language in high school for 2 years.
Oh.
But it had been a while since by the time we came to Japan, until I had kind of forgotten everything.
If you don't use the language, yeah. So you must have been surprised seeing Jayden being able to speak Japanese so well.
Yeah, it was really buzzy seeing, and even now when I see other non-Japanese people speak Japanese fluently, I think it's really cool.
How was that time here, though? Because I remember you came here just before COVID, the old lockdown of Japan.
Oh.
Yeah, so did you guys get stuck here?
We were almost stuck here. It was so crazy because so we landed in New Zealand. I think it was like a Saturday or a Sunday, and literally the day after, the New Zealand borders closed. So we almost didn't make it home. And even when we were here, we had to contact the airline to see if we were still okay to travel. And it was a hot mess at the time. And so we kind of weren't sure, because then they said, Korea's borders are now closed. And we were kind of like, okay, how else are we going to get home? But because I loved my time here so much, I was low-key kind of like, if we get stuck here for another few weeks, I won't be bad.
Okay. That's good that you liked staying here. That means you had a good experience here. So.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
So did that first trip over here kind of made you want to come back to where you are now? So that first trip had a big impact on you. Is that one of the reasons why you've come back now to teach?
Yeah, a little bit of that. It was so I've always had it in my mind that one day I wanted to live in a foreign country for at least 6 months or to a year to kind of get a different idea of how other people live and what other cultures are like. And so during that trip here, one of the girls, she was actually my cousin, and she had two Japanese girls that she knew, and we hung out with them a couple of times during the trip. And so I'd asked them, and I said, are there a lot of foreigners that work in Japan? And she said, yeah. And I said, oh, like, how do you, like, what's the process of coming over? And she mentioned one of the options was the JET program. And so, yeah, so I was like, okay, cool. We went back home. It wasn't a thing that in my mind that I wanted to pursue. I just knew eventually at some stage I will. And fast forward, there came a point in life where I was kind of like, oh, I actually have the opportunity to kind of like do almost whatever now. So what do we do? And so then I went back to exploring the living overseas option. And out of the two options that I had, Japan was one of them. And I looked into like people's reviews of the two countries. The other place was Spain. And the reviews on Japan were a lot better than Spain.
I wouldn't think so.
Sorry, yeah. And then on top of that, I had already been to Japan. And so I was kind of like, oh, and I loved it. So I was like, okay, well, it just made sense to go with Japan. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned JET. Did you apply for the program? Are you here on that program?
Yeah. That's how I came through.
Wow. So I didn't know about anything about JET until Jayden told me. It's like JET program. I was like, what the heck is a JET program?
Right.
So I have no idea what that was. So I did my research on it. It is not easy to get in that program.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so to be honest, so when after my interviewed, because you've got to interview and, and everything, I was so sure I didn't get it because I felt like I just really, like, caked the interview.
Was the interview in Japanese?
No, it was all in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they were, like, I thought a really hard panel. And so I was certain, like, that was it for me, but.
What was the process like? I know JET program, it takes roughly 1 year to actually get approved to go abroad. But the final notice is like you decide whether to go to Japan or not. So what was the process like for you?
So I applied. So the applications opened, if I remember correctly, September last year, and the deadline was December. So I literally handed my application in the day before the deadline. Because, so the thing was, I had like prepared everything in advance, right? And the week, and I knew how I was going to hand it in, etc. But the couple of days before the deadline, I got COVID. And so I was like, oh my God, I can't even leave the house, like, So if I managed to submit the application, that was December. They hear back from you for an interview by January. You do the interview by the end of January, and they told us whether we were shortlisted or not by April. And then you just have to wait until like they tell you whether you actually made the final cut or not. And that was by June. And then we flew out August. So the timeline was so tight.
When you flew out here, did they pay for it or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So fortunately, they cover the trip, the cost for the flight over, and the cover for the flight back home at the end of your contract.
How long is your contract? So how long are you planning to be here for?
So I'm planning to be here for just to do the 1 year and then go back home. But you can renew your contract after every year for up to 5 years on the JET program. Yeah.
So you just started the JET program. You're already teaching?
Yes.
Which position did you go to? ALT?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So you're stationed in, I don't know if you could say about it, where you're stationed, like Minato-ku area or Tokyo area or?
Yeah.
Tokyo area?
Tokyo area, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
It's good. Like the commute from my home to work is an hour, and I catch 3 trains. But the thing was, I didn't do my research properly. I felt like I was really ill prepared coming over because I didn't do my research properly. I only just looked at houses or like places to live, and I really liked this particular place, and so I chose that place. And I must have Googled the wrong school because I thought my school was 30 minutes away. And it wasn't until I moved into the house, to the place, and then I went to school to work on my first day that I realized it was actually an hour, not 30 minutes. And I had to catch 3 trains.
How was that? Because you'll be catching it in the morning, right? And then home. That's during rush hour, right?
Yeah.
I was catching the train in the morning.
It's a hot mess, man. But but I've kind of gotten used to it now. Now that I know like the exact trains I catch, it was really overwhelming at first because there's just so many people. Like, I was like, how is there so many people in one place? Like, at any given time. But yeah, I'm now like, it's okay. Sometimes if it's too overwhelming, I just put my headphones in, I look at the ground, and then I just walk until I get to my destination.
Okay. So you're teaching only English?
Yes, yeah.
How early do you have to go to school?
So I just have to be there by 9:30. That's our start time.
Very early. And an hour, right? So that means you have to get up at 7, get out of your house like probably 7:30 or 8.
8 the latest.
Yeah.
But I try to like do some moving in the morning. So I usually wake up between 6 and 6:30. And then do my normal like morning routine, then get ready and
This guy, he lives so close to his workplace.
He's always late.
That's why I'm surprised.
I was gonna say. I was like, I didn't want to say. I start work at 8:45. I leave home at 8:42.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Exactly.
And sometimes I wake up at 8:20.
Oh shit!
Yeah, his longest ride is coming here.
It's coming here.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only time he has to.
I hardly ride the train unless I'm going out to meet someone. I'm lucky because my work and my training place and my home is all in one area.
Walking distance, right?
Walking distance, yes.
That is great.
Must be nice.
That's same with me though. Like I'm guilty of that too. I don't leave this area as well. Like every place I'm working at, it's all in this location.
Right.
So only time I have to take the train is if I'm going to the Odaiba area.
Right.
So that's the only time.
That's so good.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think because the way you get around, the transport can put a lot of stress on some people. And if you have the luxury to be living close to where you live, because sometimes you can't, because maybe where the school is or where your job is, it's expensive to live in that area.
Right.
So maybe some people don't have that luxury. But if you do, taking away the morning train, the night train can make your life here in Japan very easy. If you have that luxury. Maybe some people don't.
Right.
Who knows, maybe in 6 months' time you can have that luxury. But I don't have to experience the morning or night train. When I do, I hate it. So I try to avoid it at all costs. But
Have you ridden like packed train before?
Yeah, like sometimes when I've had to go to like a hospital appointment or I have something, but like that's once every 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
And if I can, I avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, only time I rode those kind of packed train was when I was a student in Japan.
Oh my god.
That's the last time I rode it.
Wow.
I did ride it during my work years when I was still an assistant director, but it is not a good experience.
Once
you have a car, it's like, okay.
Right.
I just drive cars. What are the benefits for being in the JET program?
You've got the free tickets over and the free ticket back home. That's always good.
Man, I wish I had that. I wish I was on the JET program.
Oh, I see.
I hope no JET people are watching.
So when you come here, it's already paid for. Then once your contract finishes, you go back, it's paid for as well.
Yes, yeah. But you have 1 month after the end of the contract to leave the country. If you decide to stay longer than the month, then it's up to you to then pay for your flight back home.
Okay.
Do you have a visa, or like a working visa, or is there some? Because I know you guys do it through the New Zealand embassy. So do you get a special visa through them, or do you have the general working 1 year visa, or what's the deal with that?
To be honest, I don't know.
We've got a criminal in here, maybe.
No, I'm here
She's
legally.
an overstayer.
The airport patrol.
I hope immigration's not watching, because you might not be here next week.
I've got a residence card and everything.
Okay. So they do everything for you.
Yeah. So that was one of the really good things. All the admin parts, they took care of it for us.
Okay.
All we had to do was after the interview was pretty much pack our bags and get to the airport on time.
How was that decision making? Like, you love the country, but still leaving your home country away from your family. That is not a good, easy decision to make.
No. So when they told me that it was confirmed, I had the offer, I was in denial like right up until the week before we left. Like I only packed my bag the day before the flight left.
Wow.
That was how I was unsure of the decision. But I knew it was an opportunity I couldn't pass by. It just took me a while to accept it and be happy about it. You know, like people were like, oh my gosh, you must be so excited. You're going to Japan. And I'm like, I think I'll be excited when I get there. You know, it was a lot of mixed emotions because I'm pretty close with my family. So I'm the eldest of 6 kids.
Wow, that's a big family.
Yeah, I've got 4 brothers
That's
and 1
standard in New Zealand.
Yeah. And so at home, all of us, 4 brothers, myself, live at home with mum and dad. My sister is the only one who lives elsewhere because she's married and got kids. And so my brothers and I, we do everything together. And so even with my parents. And so the idea of just being away from what you know and, was kind of a little bit hard. But I knew deep down I just had to do it because it was something that I've always wanted to do, like the younger version of me had wanted to do. And it was kind of like, okay, now that I have it, why all of a sudden be so scared, And I kept reminding myself the future version of me will be happy and proud that the me now decided to step out of her comfort zone and go explore exactly. The world and do something
while
different.
you can.
Yeah, so those were kind of the things that made it a little bit, that made the decision for me.
Okay, because JET program, if you refuse once, you can't reapply for it for a while.
Yes, that's correct.
So
yeah.
I was wondering what that is. It's even though if they have that kind of like strict restrictions, it's still like some people do, like because of like family issues and stuff like that, they do refuse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So how do you cope with being away from family? Because I know I have ways that I cope with being away from family.
How do you cope with it?
Yeah, tell us.
As a senpai, you should tell her.
I just get stuck into a routine.
Uh-huh.
I think routine is very important. It takes me a while. I've only just been back in Japan for not even just over a week now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still not back into it, but trying to build that routine of just a normal routine. Because I know when I go back to New Zealand, I'm in holiday mode, I'm in chill mode. You know, my mum does everything for me. Now I'm back here. Now I have to do it all myself. So I think finding a routine is very important. Waking up this time, doing this, doing that, going here, going there. I think that's real important. And we're real blessed with technology. So I have my times when I talk to my family. I try not to talk too much because the more you just become too connected. So I put that in my routine as well.
Right.
So when it's time, unless it's urgent, then and you can message whenever you can. But I know every time I talk, it's usually for an hour to 2 hours.
Right.
And if I'm doing that 3 to 4 times a week, I still feel like I'm back there.
Right.
So I kind of have to switch my mind to being back here because Japan life and New Zealand life are 2 completely different.
Right.
Everything here moves so much faster. Everything there is so much slower. So if you're always stuck, if you're here but your mind's still there, it's very hard to try and get back into things. So for me as a routine, that's my big one. And just blessed with technology to call once or twice a week. So that's how I get through it.
Nice.
What about yourself?
Quite similar to you. The first 2 weeks were probably like the hardest weeks for me. I cried every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was so tough, man. But and so I would always video call home. Thankfully, we have that luxury. I don't think I would have actually moved if we didn't have the option of just being able to pick up your phone and call family. I'll contact the other JET girls from New Zealand that we came with. They're placed either in Hokkaido or a little bit further out. And they would say the same thing, like, I miss my family so much. I just finished crying. I'm like, okay, it's normal. Like, it's just part and parcel of it all. Now So I love to dance.
Okay.
And in the place that I'm staying in, we have a studio. That was one of my non-negotiables when I was looking for a place, because I knew I was going to be in a different, like, everything was going to be different. And I needed to maintain the things that were familiar to me to keep me grounded. And one of those things was dancing. And so wherever I was staying, there had to be either a dance studio nearby or a studio in the building. And so that's one of the things I love to do is I just dance. It makes me feel at home. And it makes me feel like me still, despite the changing things around me. So the constant messaging and the video calling back home. I was fortunate enough to have been connected into the Samoan community here in Japan. Oh my gosh! As soon as I met them the first time, I was like, oh, I found my people. Like I just felt at home straight away. Yeah,
they're real lovely people. Yeah, I know a lot of the Samoan community over here as well. I've been lucky enough to meet the ambassador as well.
Yeah.
But they're awesome. Really lovely people.
But you had these communities who supported you, your own people. But regardless of that, what was the most hardest thing coming here? Like, was it the language barrier?
Oh, I think I realized that was the most difficult once I got here. The language barrier. So because with JET, speaking Japanese is not compulsory, which now after being on the program and actually doing it, I'm like, oh, I feel like it should be, it would really help.
That's interesting because I read the JET program's website. I'm sorry to say this, but it was very hard to navigate through it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it was really hard to find a lot of information. But it said that one of the conditions to be in the JET program is you have to be interested in the Japanese culture. Mm-hmm. And be willing to learn the culture itself. And also the teaching environment as well. Mm-hmm. And then another thing it said you needed Japanese proficiency test. You need to take the test as well eventually, I think.
Yeah, okay.
It's called a JLPT. I told him about it.
I just learned about it. I learned about it.
It's a proficiency test, and you have to have at least N2 or N1, I think, eventually.
Oh wow!
I'm not sure if they told you or anything. I don't know how. It just said on the website, so I don't know what they told you. But
yeah, I feel like this is the first time.
You're breaking the rules.
You might be right, and so I need to go back and do my research.
Because didn't they ask you a lot of things about Japanese stuff like that?
Not really. They some of the questions that they asked me in my interview were, what are some of the things about New Zealand culture that you could take over
to
Japan type thing.
Okay.
They asked us how much Japanese I knew, and I told them I studied it, but I by that point didn't really remember anything. But you are right in that you need to have an interest in learning the language, the culture, etc. But the question with that though is how do you even measure that, right? Someone can say, oh yeah, I am interested, but they might not be. So that's the tricky part. And so, yeah, knowing Japanese, even when I started work, my supervisor had said to me, because they encourage us to not speak Japanese in the classroom, because they want the students to have full exposure to English. And then even the staff, the Japanese English teachers, they want to also practice their English. And so then you come home, because I live in a share house, and everyone speaks English or Japanese.
Okay.
And in terms of practicing Japanese, it's kind of you can't really do it at school, really, in conversations.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're not too exposed to the language.
Not directly where I'm required to speak it, which makes it hard.
Because I was wondering, if you're in a Japanese school, there are Japanese teachers.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you even talk with them. So I'm guessing you really don't have the need to communicate with them too much, because they're different, different subject.
Yeah. So in our school, everybody, all the teachers or majority of the teachers are in the same room, and I'm seated next to English, the English staff, And so there we kind of like really only communicate with this is for me anyway, with the teachers that are in your department type thing about the school stuff, like the teaching plans, etc. But other than that, because there's a language barrier exists for them as well. Like there's some teachers who don't really understand English and can't speak English. So the communication between myself and them is also really hard. Because we both, and same with the students. And so luckily Google Translate has been my savior since I've been here.
There you go, Google Translate. God almighty.
So you said you like to dance. Mm-hmm. Is there any opportunities for you to dance over here in Japan? How do you practice your dancing?
So one is, when I was in New Zealand, I was part of a dance group called Ura Taboo. Pacific dance group, and they do online classes, and so that's how I keep up with the dancing, which I'm so grateful for, because otherwise I would have been kind of like stuck with options. And then the first couple of weeks I was here, I would just play a song that made me feel some type of way, and then just choreograph something to it. And so that's with Siva Samoa, or Samoan dancing. And then I was doing fire dancing back home. And so I didn't bring any gear. And so I just one day went to the hardware store and collected the things that I needed and made me a practice fire stick. And
oh, man, I can introduce you to someone that does fire dancing.
Really?
There if you want. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Because I've been trying to...
It's a guy, though, but...
Yeah, that's
he
fine.
fire dances over here in Japan, so...
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, because I haven't really found anyone who lives in Tokyo that is a fire dancer.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Oh,
he used
perfect.
to dance at Disney.
Oh.
Disney's, whichever one has the Lilo and Stitch.
Disney
dancing.
Sea.
Disney Sea.
Oh, I see.
And now he fire dances
Okay,
here in Japan.
perfect. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, cool. We can come watch you fire dance.
Oh, I'm not like on his level. Like, I'm not professional. But yeah.
Can you see yourself dancing here in Japan, though? Because I was part of a Tahitian dance group over here. And the demand for them to dance everywhere and anywhere was so big.
Right.
Can you see yourself dancing over here?
I
Can you see
would
that
love
being a career over
dancing?
here?
Oh.
Yeah, there's the potential's there.
Depending on, money talks. So depending on what the...
Well, Japan talks louder as well, so
Does it?
some places. Well, I know the Tahitian guy, he charges about 2 arms and 1 leg for
Oh, right.
Oh,
his
really? That's
classes.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
I would love to dance, or be just connected to the dancing community here, Pacific dancing community. And it was so funny. We had a friend's baby shower yesterday, and that was like my first gig where we performed a Hawaiian number and a Samoan one with my friends. So that was really nice because it's been 4 months.
Maybe in your JET program, you could teach the kids to dance.
Yeah,
as well. Japan likes to have a lot of events for school. So
yeah, for sure. I'll talk to my supervisor about it.
that's what you're here for, aren't you? Bringing
Yeah.
some culture to the Japanese side.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
One
I
idea.
would love to. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself lucky to be based in Tokyo? Because I know the JET program sends people all over the place.
All over the place, yeah.
To somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to go there, or do you like being in Tokyo?
Now I'm so glad I'm in Tokyo. Whereas before, so they actually ask you for your preference, to put your preference in order. And the funny thing was, so I had said on my one, I've only ever been to Tokyo, and so I'm open to wherever. And then they went and put me in Tokyo. And I was like, oh man, I wish I was a little bit more on the countryside, because I'm not too much of a big city girl. I'm more of, I enjoy the quiet, the peace. And so I was a little bit gutted. And then I came here, and then I was like, oh my gosh, everything's overwhelming. But after now a couple of months, I'm really happy because it's just so convenient being here. Everything, is around and close. But the funny thing was, some people on the program who indicated on the form that they wanted, say, for example, to be on an island or the countryside, they got placed in the big cities. And some people who put Tokyo in some of the bigger cities, they're actually placed out in the countryside.
You were lucky then.
So, yeah.
Because you said Tokyo, and you still got Tokyo, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tokyo has everything, so.
It does.
I think it'll be a lot more convenient for someone that's just come to Japan, because if you're out in the countryside, the trains are probably not as convenient as they could be here in Tokyo.
Yeah.
I think a car would probably be important out there. And although the living might be a bit cheaper out in the countryside, wherever it may be, but I think Tokyo City can just be a little bit more convenient. And there's more people to meet, like networking. I'm not sure if there'll be many foreign faces out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and I mean, for someone who doesn't know the language, I think I would have struggled living it out in the countryside. So, yeah.
What is the one thing you like about the Japanese culture?
Everyone is so respectful. Like that, I feel like that's the part that's quite similar to my Samoan culture. But yeah, just everybody is so respectful of each other, and I think that's my top one.
Okay, well, don't you find it like too respectful in a way, like
a robot?
Yeah.
I think the only thing, but I don't know if it's related to the question, is that people are so respectful that they're really indirect when they should be direct.
I think Japan's like very good when it comes to like I agree with you. They are very respectful. They are very kind. Because in the States we give restaurant like waiters like tips.
Yeah.
They work hard for that.
Yeah.
But Japan, we don't give that. But they still work that just as hard.
Yeah.
So,
and you can't tip here too, right?
No, you can't. They will not accept it.
Like the service here is so great that almost every restaurant I go to, me and my friends are like, man, I wish we could tip them because they're so amazing. Like, this.
You
so
can tip
good.
us if this podcast is. Hey, we take tips.
We take a generous tip.
This is not the Japan in here. This is a bit America and New Zealand in here, so you can tip on this table if you want.
Maybe we should put a tip mark.
So how do you learn the language then, since you're so you have to speak English all the time, your house is English, your school is English. How do you learn Japanese then? Because obviously Japan, outside of those two places, Japanese will be very important. So how do you, other than Google Translate, are you studying it, or are you just immersing yourself in the culture to pick it up? How are you trying to pick up the language?
So through the JET program, they actually offer you, they provide free online resources to help you learn. And the good thing about it is that when you have downtime at school, they encourage you to learn Japanese. And so there's also the Duolingo app that everybody seems to use.
The
Duolingo.
You don't know Duolingo? Really? Oh my god. I never knew a person. I never thought I would meet someone who does not know Duolingo. Is that the owl, the green owl. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, I think I've seen it, but I've never
It's an app that you could study like multiple languages.
Oh, I think I've seen it on like an ad on Instagram or something like that.
Okay, so they implement that.
Yeah, well, like all the JIT participants before we came as well were like, okay, everybody download Duolingo. Like
that is like the most simplest thing you could do. Just download the app that exists already.
You gotta start somewhere, so I've got my Samoan friends so they're students here, they're master students here, and one is doing her degree, and I think one of them. It was compulsory that she took a Japanese paper and had to learn the language as part of her degree. So she's been like my go-to person. Like everywhere we go, she would either do everything for us, or I'd say, okay, what did they say? And so she'll teach me that way. And even the people in at my house, they would like say something and I'd be like, oh wait, what did that mean? Can you just say that again? And then I'll note it on my phone. But I've started off learning just the key phrases that, I'd use every day.
Like?
Arigatou gozaimasu. And then how to say yes, please, when you want a plastic bag at the supermarket. So when I hear the word fukuro, then I know they're asking about the plastic bag, and then my response is Fukuro, hi, onegaishimasu.
But sometimes they don't ask you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I just go, Fukuro, onegaishimasu.
You gotta be careful with that because I think I used to say like bukuro.
Bukuro.
That's L, is it?
Fukuro, no, it's intonation. If you say fukuro, that means owl. Fukuro means
Fukuro,
bag.
Ah,
Fukuro
okay.
means
Fukuro.
owl.
Oh,
If
right.
you say it differently.
Uh-huh.
So if you put u at the end, fukuro. Fukuro is owl. Fukuro is bag.
Okay, I'm going to go home
Trust me,
and practice.
we had
I'm
a
like-
podcast about Japanese language. My head has never been so sore before. I thought I mastered a language and I heard there was another language and I was like,
Right.
You'll master it when
I'm
you take the
done.
JLPT.
Yes.
Take the JLPT. dude.
the test the proficiency.
Right.
Oh, you both should take it and then see which one of you get the highest.
By far, I think Jayden
Yeah,
will win that
no.
one.
You never know. He's not good with papers. So.
Oh, is he?
Babe, no. I'll be the speak. I'll speak through like a speaking writing thing. That'll help. So you said that you're a country girl. Is there any places you want to explore outside of Tokyo?
So Hokkaido is like number 1 on my list.
It's
of
pretty
places.
close to New Zealand. Hokkaido kind of like environment, don't you think?
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of farming
Farming.
there,
Big,
and a lot
like,
of green.
No, not many like buildings.
Right. Okay. Yep. And Okinawa is the other one, the other place that I'd like to go visit.
I never been to Okinawa. So.
Okinawa would be like an American. I've never been to America, Samoa, but it'd be like a Samoan influenced by America.
I see. Okay.
It's a real beautiful, beachy. But there's a lot of there's a lot of American bases.
You made it sound bad. You made it sound bad. There's a lot of Americans.
There's a lot of
there. You said
American
it.
bases there
Yeah.
because I love my Americans.
I don't know the way you said it.
But it's just a really beautiful island. I think you should go like further down, like Miyakojima.
Yeah,
or
Miyakojima.
Ishigaki. That's more like a tropical island
Yeah.
place.
Oh, right.
If you are able to go there, that'd be a lot more
Okay.
nicer than Okinawa. It's still a city. It's still kind of
Right,
a city
okay.
by the beach.
Right.
But if you can go further down to Miyakojima and Ishigaki,
Yeah.
it's
Definitely.
where it's
Okay.
real pure Japanese, pure island style.
Ah,
No big buildings or anything like that.
yeah. Okay. I would love to experience like just I don't know if it exists, but like just a Japanese place where there's just no Western influence in terms of the way they dress, the way the houses look.
Kyoto.
Kyoto? Okay.
Kyoto
Okay.
definitely is not Western influence. They still have the same exact it's the Japanese culture. If I say this to a Tokyo person, they'll get pissed off at me. But Kyoto is the heart of Japan because when Japan was deciding their capital, it was whether Tokyo or Kyoto was one of the two places.
Right.
But Tokyo won for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyoto is definitely a recommend.
Okay.
A lot of people a lot of foreigners right now going there as well.
Yeah.
Shrines there are amazing. But yeah, if you want the Japanese culture, then Kyoto is one place you should definitely visit while you're here.
Okay, for sure. We've been to my friends and I have been to Enoshima Island, and we went to Scuba.
Okay.
I love those places too.
Scuba, I've never been. You've been to Tochigi, but
Yeah.
you never
Scuba,
been. Right?
that's Ibaraki, right? Yeah. I heard that was a very beautiful.
Mountain.
Yeah.
You like hiking?
Did you
like
climb?
Yes,
hiking?
I like
don't you?
hiking. We
Okay.
hiked Mount Scuba. That was why we went
Oh,
down.
yeah.
to
Okay,
Scuba.
okay.
Yeah.
You
it
hiked
was
that to
amazing.
mountain thing?
The 2 peaks. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful views.
Suda was going to do that. When were you going to do that? You made a promise to everyone?
It's winter now, so I'll do it. Yeah. I'm going to go get gear.
You heard it here first. You heard it here,
I'm
guys.
actually thinking about it. I'll let you guys know when I get that content out. Yes.
You heard it here first, folks.
How long did it take you to climb it?
Well, I feel like we kind of cheated because
You took the ropeway?
Yeah, we did.
No, I'm taking the ropeway. too. Don't get me wrong. I am going to take the ropeway.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So, but there's a part of it where it was really steep and you're just climbing up some real huge rocks. That was where I thought I was going to pass out because it was.
I heard they had chains so you could climb those kind of mountains. Did you?
I saw them there, but I thought they were like you weren't supposed to hang on to them.
Oh no, you're supposed to hang out to that.
Oh, I see.
It's for
What's the
safety.
chains there for? Just
Yeah,
decorations?
it's there for safety.
I see. Okay.
Or decorations?
That's like climbing. That's like China has a similar like area where you need chains to go through it.
Right.
That's like saying you're not grabbing that on a really steep ass hill.
Because they were like on the side, so I just thought they were there to like prevent people from going into the side.
Oh no,
of
no,
the...
no, no. It's to
Oh my god, we
so that
just,
they don't fall.
Just looked at it.
we just went. Oh, don't go that side. Just keep dying
Try
out
to
this
be-
way.
Well, that's good. At least you got there
Extreme
safe.
mountaineer by just using your hands.
Did you go anywhere else?
We went to like Ibaraki the Hitachi Seaside.
Oh, the flower park?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
okay.
beautiful. Those are all the places that I can at the top of my head I can think of that we've been to. Yeah.
How did you get out there? Did you drive or you catch the train? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
train, bus.
That's a good experience though.
Yeah, I mean most of the time we just slept on the train because they were like an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah, and like transit between, right?
Yeah.
So how's it working life now and compared to the holiday life? Because you came over initially on a holiday and now you're in the working life. Because I have my brother and my friends, they all go, man, they came over for a holiday. Like, man, we want to live in Tokyo now because we just love it. They had such a good time during the holiday. But the holiday mode compared to the working mode is a real big difference.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you experiencing going from when you first came over to holiday into now work world?
I think for me it's the holiday compared to living here. Because the work itself, I actually quite enjoy it. Like it's not stressful. The work, in comparison to what I was doing back in New Zealand, is so chilled. Like we get a lot of free time, where you can just it's up to you how to make use of that time. Because you're required to be there from the start time till the end, regardless of whether you have classes or not. And so it's been really different for me. Coming from a really intense, just working long hours to just a set time, and it's not everything is due kind of like yesterday. So that's been really awesome. But the living here, though, definitely different to coming for a visit. But I don't know if part of it is because when you come to visit, you're going home at the end of the, it's temporary and it's only it's short term. Whereas living here, you kind of like, okay, you now have to make this somewhat your new home, and you have to accept the differences between this and where you've come from. And I think for me that was hard because, again, the language barrier played a huge part in making it really hard. And then learning or kind of getting used to the processes of how things are done. So, for example, banking. So with the banking, it just, in New Zealand, you can email things, right? E-copies. Whereas in my experience, we booked an appointment to go and see somebody, and we didn't have the paperwork that they needed because of, like, for example, you needed to have lived here for 6 months to open a bank account with certain banks. I hadn't. And so because of that, your employer has to then provide all this paperwork. And my employer, I don't think, realized that at the time. And so we had to book another appointment to come back because they wouldn't take the documents via email. So those are it was just getting used to the systems of doing things here. That was what made it hard. Whereas, you're not having to worry about those things when you're on holiday. Yeah. So...
What about like normal day stuff, like going to the supermarket or paying bills? How's doing all of that? Is that okay for you? Because I know you pay bills here. Well, sometimes you can pay them online, or you have to take the little paper to. Do you pay bills at share houses or?
Yes. So,
okay.
But the way I've been doing it so far is I just go to the bank and deposit it.
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah, and that's just been a lot easier. I haven't though done the thing where you take the slip to the convenience store and pay it there. I've yet to do that. The supermarkets though, man, it's just everything's just everywhere, right? Like it's just so convenient. It's so great. That I love that part. And the other thing is, it's like there's just so many options you go look for a sunscreen and you've got like 10 types of sunscreens and 10 brands, like, that's not a problem. So I love that. Yeah.
How was the living though compared to New Zealand to Japan? Because I know I just came back from New Zealand and you can't go to the supermarket is. I go here to the supermarket maybe like once or twice a week and it's only like $30 or $40, but you go to the supermarket in New Zealand for like 2 days worth of food and it's over $100.
Yeah, New Zealand is ridiculously expensive. So I honestly, every time I go out and buy something that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like 3 times the price in New Zealand. If you buy this product, I'll take a photo, put the price on it, and put it on Instagram. Like, so I'm like, the cost of living in Japan is so great. Like, everything in New Zealand is just, even the housing. I mean, right now, I'd say maybe for an apartment, the cost of an apartment in New Zealand is what I pay now in my share house. You pay that close to maybe a week or 2 weeks of rent in New Zealand, and I pay that a month here, and that's considered expensive. What I pay, so the cost of living here in Japan is just
like people like complain. Japanese people complain a lot about like cost of living and stuff right now. At the moment,
right?
It's a big debate. When you compare it to like the States, New Zealand, of course, the cost of living here is like way cheaper, way easier to live.
Yeah, 100%.
Ridiculously it might be a little expensive to some standards, but not really.
Yeah.
You could still make a living out of it.
Yeah.
So
I remember like there was like a massive complaint that eggs prices has
gone
up.
When I heard that, I was like, no, dude, eggs compared to other countries.
It's gone from like $2.20 to like $2.60.
Yeah.
Or 260 yen.
Yeah.
New Zealand,
For
how
10,
much is it in New Zealand? I saw like 12 for like, I think it was like $20-something.
Holy crap, that's
and
expensive.
Like,
Yeah.
So like that's interesting. Like you say the cost of living in New Zealand is very expensive, but here it's very cheap, but you still want to go back. Why is that?
The major thing is my family. I don't see myself living away from my family or too far away from my family for a long time. I've got a niece and a nephew and another on the way, and I love them, and so I want to see them grow up type thing. And the other reason too is like if you were to exchange what I'm earning here to New Zealand dollars, it ends up being like peanuts to New Zealand dollars. So that's the other big factor, and I want to be in a position where I can easily, financially, easily travel back and forth to where my parents are and to where I'm living, and I can't actually do that, as regularly as I would like if I were to stay here long term. If I were to stay on with Jet2, in terms of career progression, I don't think there are a lot of options. And I mean, I'm in my 30s now, and it's kind of like if I was in my 20s, early 20s right now, I would consider staying a little bit longer maybe. But given that, where I am in life at the moment, I feel like I need to make a little bit more serious decisions around what the future looks like. And and I can't be living on the other side of the world and not be able to afford to go home as often as I'd like.
You'll be like this guy.
Yeah, you're like me, go home once.
Always checking his phone just to see if the flight is like good or not.
There are any specials there?
Yeah, we'll find family and stuff.
Yeah.
But how about networking? How do you network with because I think that's another important thing in Japan for someone that's new is networking, meeting new people, making new friends, creating new friendships so that you can create opportunities for yourself. How are you doing that obviously you can do it with the Samoan community, but how about outside that, the Japanese community, to look for more opportunities? Or you're not really looking for much more opportunities outside of your JET program?
In terms of I think the only other space that I've been that I've done that was within the New Zealand Embassy. So I volunteered for the education fair that they did, which was really awesome. And I got through there because I know I'm going back home. I got to meet a lot of the high school and tertiary providers that came through, and had some conversations around, what it's like, the international market right now in the education space back in New Zealand. And because I had worked at a university for about 8 years, and so it was really cool to just kind of have those conversations. And they're actually conversations I didn't even have, and contacts I never made when I was in New Zealand. And so that was really cool. In terms of within the Japanese space, I haven't really, just because of my fear of not knowing the language. I think that's just been like my biggest, it's the fear, the biggest barrier in kind of stepping out. And then the other thing that goes through my mind too was like, because I don't know the language, am I going to be of any use, like in that space? Like, what is there to offer when you can't actually communicate to a certain level? Because in my mind, I wish I could speak fluently right now. But yeah. So.
I think like mastering this is language. This is for any language. You shouldn't be afraid to kind of confront it, because you're in a very unique environment, because you're fortunate enough to get into a program that allows you to be in that environment to learn the language itself. Because when you're in another country, like for example New Zealand, and studying Japanese, it's different from coming here and then learning that language itself firsthand, because people will speak it. It's everywhere. So it's the same with English as well. That's what I usually tell a lot of people who wants to learn English, is that go to a country that speaks English. Be in that environment. Force yourself to be in that environment, and you'll master that language. Like, you won't master it completely, but you at least gain something out of it. So
because you're surrounded by it.
Yeah.
So it's
you're still afraid.
I am. I'm like, it makes sense, but I'm still scared.
Well, like, you're a senpai. You've been through that before.
Yeah,
Advice?
It's just taking that. Yeah, it's scary, but I think, like you said, everyone here is so friendly. They're real opening and real welcoming to foreigners and people that, if you respect the culture enough, and if you do love the culture and want to have them learn, then they will be open to communicating with you. Like, you might not understand what each other are saying, but you're still creating that connection face to face. And it's a start. Because if you just be scared, you're still at zero. And next week you'll still be at zero. But if you just make that first connection, at least you're at 1. And then you can go to 2 after that. So it is scary, and I fully understand that. But like you said earlier, you said people here are real friendly and a real opening. So just trust that, and just reach out, or use someone to reach out. Like, you can use me if you want. I'll reach out to the fire dancing guy for you.
Oh yes,
His English is kind of okay, but
He's Japanese.
He's Japanese.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
He's Japanese, but he loves everything about Samoa and everything about the All Blacks.
Like your friends as well. Like, they have Japanese friends.
Yeah.
Definitely. So like, being with someone who could actually translate for you, teach you a thing or two about what they're talking about, what they're saying, how to say things. It's like the fastest way, one fast way to learn the language itself. Because it's like, I've been into a Japanese intensive program. When I came to Japan, I was studying it for a year before I went to university. So I've seen many foreign students who came to Japan with zero knowledge of Japanese language and mastered the language within 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
That's how it's intensive, yes, but it's not impossible. Yeah. So you could do it if you put if you're willingly to do it.
One of the things that I've decided to do as part of trying to step out is, so my share house, they usually do run events or host parties, etc. The majority of people who live in my share house are Japanese, and so there's some other parties where I wouldn't go, or just because I'm I don't know how I'm going to communicate. So this was the first 2-3 weeks. But anyway, they're hosting a sports day this weekend, and I love sports. I love to play sports. And so I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I signed up for it. And so I'm going. It's going to be with people from my share house and people from other share houses. It's like a combined kind of sporting event. But yeah, I was kind of like, you just have to get in there and just see what happens. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a protected environment.
Yeah.
So nothing bad's gonna happen. I mean, you're not going to a club and this one random guy just hitting on you.
Yeah.
Things like that. So you're in a safe environment. So just use it. You know, that's good. You're stepping up. You know, getting out of your comfort zone. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Very important.
So,
very important.
Very important.
And just be open because I think, especially as Polynesians, we kind of stick to our own. We kind of stick to our own. We stick to what we know. But being open to just meeting people outside of your normal circle.
Yeah.
Because the world's a big place, Japan's a big place, and there's so many people that you can meet that can create opportunities from that. Like, that's how I met Suda. Like, that's
Right.
I've only been surrounded by athletes.
Right.
Just, people want to do weights all the time. Monday to Friday, they just want to go weights, and Saturday, Sunday, they just want to party. But, I decided to, that's what I've always known. But, there's more people outside of that. That's how I met Suda. And, sort of set this whole shoot up, and look where we are now.
Right, yeah.
So I think being open to meeting new people and not just sticking to what you know
Yeah.
is very important, to stepping outside that comfort zone and just learning about Japan, because you'll learn so much more about the Japanese culture, the language, by meeting just different types of people.
Because you never know, like, you might change your mind.
Yeah, that's true.
Within this year,
Yeah.
meeting new people, meeting a lot of people, a lot of opportunities. People who you never thought you could meet in New Zealand, you'll meet in Japan. So a lot of like opportunities, I think, especially jet programs. I think I'm not sure how, like, keen they are on, like, spreading the cultures, like introducing their students to all the different kind of like environments. But like, if you're here on a program, use that as an advantage to meet people outside of that. Like Jayden said, like it gives you a new kind of perspective. I mean, like, who knows? Like, you could probably do like what you said, like going back and forth. There might be an opportunity for that as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to know is, we're privileged to have you as our first female guest.
Oh, that's true.
On DaDen, we haven't had a female on, so it's been
Nice.
cool to get the female view of Japan. But as a female in Japan, do you feel safe?
I actually do. Like, yeah. Like, I mean, the first couple of weeks, I was, quite skeptical. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, it's safe," and I believed it to an extent, but I was always real mindful just because I was always by myself. But now you kind of like walk around sometimes 10, 11 at night, and everybody is still out, even like other females and kids, making their way back from work or at the park. And the other thing that I found here is everybody kind of minds their own, when
whether
you're
it's a
out
good
and
thing or not.
yeah, there's pros and cons to that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And so, to answer the question, I feel safe. Yeah, here a lot more than I do back in New Zealand anyway. So.
How about on the train? Do you feel safe? Because I heard a story that after a night out in Roppongi, you fell asleep on the train and you went around twice.
Yeah, me and my friend Samuel.
Yamanote?
So
Yamanote
yeah,
line?
it was the Yamanote line. So we had all gone out, and like the music was so cool. Like, and so my cousin and our other friend had wanted to go home, and I think this was also around the same time you left as well.
No, I left before you guys.
Oh, right.
Don't drag me into your
What?
morning party.
There's a thing different.
Don't drag me into your until morning party.
Maybe there's like a
I had some
memory
food
you
and
lost.
I
Tell
left.
the truth, okay?
I remember we ate and I was going home and you guys, let's go for more dancing. I was like, nope, I'm gone.
And two of us decided that we'd like stay till the next day. And so we did. And we caught the train back home, and we fell asleep, and we woke up and we had been on the train for 2 hours. And
I wouldn't
nobody
be surprised.
woke us up.
No, trust me, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I did the same thing. So I when I was a student, I drank for a long time, and then like it was the morning, and then I was sleeping on Yamanote line for more than 4 hours.
Whoa.
Nobody wakes you up.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets off the train. And then fresh new faces come in. So they don't care.
It doesn't look like you've been there for like,
it's like,
a long time.
He's the same. Okay, whatever.
Guy, he guys going to work and you're on there. Come back. He's going home. He's
He's
still
still
there.
Hey, that's exactly what it is.
Finish work same time as me.
And you're in the same spot.
Yeah. Nobody wakes you up.
Yeah.
Not unless like it's like the final train.
Right, yes.
They won't wake you up. But Yamanote line is like the least. A lot of people use it just for like as a sleeping like area. 'Cause you could go hours around the same exact line, not go anywhere else. But when you go to a different train line, there are like final train rides.
Yeah.
So, Yamanote line is the only place that they don't wake you up. That's the only train ride, I think. Have you slept on it?
No, I have mad paranoia when it comes to sleeping on a train. So I don't want to go past wherever I have to be at.
Right. Yeah.
So I will do everything I can to stay awake. Unless I'm really, really had too many cup of teas, then I may fall asleep.
When you're in the Yamanote line though, like you kind of like, you feel safe though.
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to come back around.
Yeah.
So, but when you're on the other lines, you have no idea where it's going to take you.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if you don't take them regularly.
Yeah. So you're here now in Japan. What is your future plan for being in Japan?
Being in Japan, well, I'm heading back home next month.
You're allowed to go back home?
Yeah, well, if your employer allows you to.
How long is it?
I'm going for a month.
It's a long. You just came here and you're going back for a month.
No, because my boyfriend's family, we had booked a trip to Hawaii before the whole jet thing came about, and so I had asked my supervisor in advance, like, is this okay? Because we have a family trip that's planned, and he was like, yeah, that's all right. So yeah, that was. Otherwise, I think I would have been spending Christmas here. Yeah.
Well, your boyfriend's in New Zealand right now.
Yes, he is.
You guys your long distance relationship?
It's actually really because we've done long distance before.
Oh, okay.
That was hard. Whereas this time now, this is so much better. We video call every day, pretty much, and message all the time. So kind of like today, for example, I was video calling my mom and my sister, and talking to my niece and nephew, and then after them, I was video calling him.
Man, you're busy as a person. Video calls. Yeah, a bunch of busy video calls.
Yeah, so yeah, but it works. But I think with long distance, you've just gotta you both have to want to make it work. That's the only way it works. Otherwise,
advice from a woman.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard work, but it's possible.
Okay.
He doesn't want to come move over, or
that was an option. That was an option for us initially, and we looked into it. And we thought finding work for him here would be a little bit more difficult because there's no connections for him.
What does he do?
So he works for the Kiwi Rail. It's a train. They look after the train tracks.
Oh, so he could do the JR line.
He actually could, but then he doesn't even know Japanese.
They have a good program probably. So JR speaks English too.
So yeah, we looked at that and we thought, it was going to be a little bit more challenging than we initially thought. And then I came to the conclusion that I was going to be here for a year. And so we thought, okay, I think it's just better if we just did the long distance and then, just for the year and then head back home.
Well, yeah, you're going back for a month. So
yeah.
You just got here. You're only here for 12 months. So actually, you're only here for 11 months.
Don't judge me for that, okay?
Wait, is it school day? School's not a day off during that time, is it?
So they've got, no, they're not on holiday, but they've got, one of the weeks they've got the final exams. And so that's kind of like quiet period for...
Kimatsu shiken.
I've heard that.
I hate that word. Okay, so they're exam period. So that means they're going Oh, it's almost close to the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
You won't be here for the Christmas holidays.
No, I won't be.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you'll be back in January.
Yes, well, I'll be back on like just before December finishes, so
Oh,
I'll be spending New Year's here.
Oh, why don't you just spend New Year's over there and just come back? Why are you coming back so early?
Flights cheap
Might
during
as
the
well.
New Year's period, isn't it? Like New Year's Day or New Year's Eve or something like that.
Oh,
I think that's
don't
cheap
know.
that time because I remember that's the time that I saw that.
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
that's
cheap.
true. It is cheap.
Like
Probably
that
cheap.
day or the day before, the day after is like a really cheap day. Those are the 3 cheapest days to fly.
Okay. I'm coming back a little bit earlier than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice to someone that's watching that maybe is thinking of doing JET program? What would be your advice for them to kind of just give them a little push that they might need to take on the JET program? What would be your advice for them?
I've always said, like, have you ever heard the saying YOLO? But hey, don't take it out of context. Hold on, I've got to explain. Have you heard it?
No.
It stands for you only live once, right? And usually,
YOLO.
like, you just go,
You make
YOLO.
you make it sound so bad.
That's what people
Well,
do.
it's-
Like they're gonna jump off for like something high into the water. They're like YOLO. Just jump.
And jump. So usually it's used in like not so much of a great context because you're just kind of like, you're not making it like an educated decision when you use YOLO. But the way I use that is that like you literally only have one life and you want to maximize the one life that you have. And, just keep doing things that the future version of yourself will be proud of. And with every opportunity that comes your way, most of them don't come back twice. And the only way to explore and to see the world is by making a step, even if it's uncomfortable. In terms of the JET program, it's pretty safe. Like you've got a good, like I said, they did everything for us in preparation in the beginning. And all you have to do is pack your bag and
Day
to the
before.
airport. Not the day
Maybe
before,
a week
but
before you leave.
Day before is possible, I guess.
it's doable.
You probably want nothing here. Oh no, she knew she was gonna go to the Hawaii trip. That's why she only got one bag worth of it.
Actually, that was the reason I only did one.
I'm going back next month anyway.
I was like, I'll get more when I go back. But yeah, JET, I would highly recommend, going through it if you have the opportunity and if it's something that you're interested in. It's a good foot in the door to get into Japan if you're wanting to explore the country and the culture and do something different for yourself. And also too, if you don't have kids, that was my thing was, I want to do all these different things for myself before I actually settle down because, once you get married and have children, you might not be able to do those things and you can't, go back and do the things that you've always wanted to do. So, yeah, just you've got nothing to lose. Just make the application and see where it takes you.
Well, it's great having you on our podcast. There's a lot of it, like a new insight. I learned quite a few things about JET program and how it helps out the Japanese community within the language and also the foreign communities as well coming to Japan and actually experience the culture. I think it's a very good program.
Yeah.
I wish I knew about it, but I never knew about it, so I came in a different route
Right.
as you did too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because they have a sports one as well.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they have a
wow.
sports SCA. It's meant for people who coaches or something like that.
Oh.
There was a program. There's 3 types of programs. So that's one of them. So, but you can't take it, by the way.
Yeah.
You lived here for more than 6 years.
Oh, is there a rule for that as well? Oh.
You can't actually take it.
Come on, man. I'm a Kiwi as well.
But yeah, it was a very good insight. It was nice having you.
Yeah,
you
thank
talk. You talk
you.
without
Very
a problem.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never done this, so I was really nervous. I'm not really good with public speaking. But
Really?
Yeah.
You should try it out. You have a good. It's
Speak
easy to
well.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
Oh, okay. Well, I think you guys did a really good job and made it easier to carry the conversation. So
we do our best.
Thank you.
thank you for having me.
Just remember, tips are over here.
Zip jar right here. But yeah, I'm really excited to see your journey and where it's gonna take you. Hopefully we could probably maybe next year have you again to see a different
Sure.
perspective
Yeah.
of what you actually think
Yeah.
living here in Japan for
After your
couple-
month holiday
after a
away.
month holiday,
but, yes, very grateful for you to come on last minute. I just came to I saw you last weekend, last Saturday, and then it just came to my head. I was like,
Oh,
oh
that's
my
that
gosh.
close.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, this is someone that we could get on.
Right.
Real grateful to have a female's voice on DaDen as well. It's we haven't had a female guest before, and to have a female's perspective on what Japan is like, how you said it's safe, and how you're a little bit scared to go out and, you know, network. But I think going forward, I think you'll be ready for anything that's going to come at you. You speak very well.
Thank
And it sounds like you've got a lot planned. Like you have so much opportunities that you can explore, like the dancing, networking with more Samoan community members. I think the opportunities for you here can be so many. So I'm very excited for what's ahead for you, and I wish you all the best. And I hope that we can hear from you again after your 1 month holiday. Once you be in Japan a little bit more longer and experience a bit more.
Maybe next summer you should
Next
come to
summer?
the podcast again.
Oh, yeah, for
because
sure.
you will probably live probably half the season.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll go through winter now, and then spring, and then
Yes.
the scorching hot summer here in
Man,
Japan.
Your summer is not the one, hey.
Oh, it's a lot hotter. It's a lot hotter.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Yes, but no, we're very grateful for you coming on. Thank you for giving us your time tonight, and very excited for what's ahead for you. So
Thank you.
All
It's
the
a
best.
privilege. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming by. At such a short notice.
It's all right.
yeah, sorry about that. And the
Just
last guy
don't do it
pulled
again,
out.
okay?
Last guy pulled out. I can reach out to Aggie. YOLO.
Take your tips. Thank you.